Hello YouTube. Today in the Naughty Librarian, I am doing my December TBR and also November wrap-up, all in one. I'm back with another mashup video. I've been doing these as 2 videos for so long, it's like a little bit weird to do it as one, but like it feels right. So here we are. It is almost the end of 2023. Oh my goodness, it's weird to say that, but here we are. I read a fair amount in November and a lot of them were pretty good. So I'm going to review those and then talk about what's on deck to finish out 2023. Let's go. So starting with my November wrap up, I'm going to start things off with special topics like I always do. So I have For Your Eyes Only by Ian Fleming. This is book 8 of the Ian Fleming books for James Bond. And it's actually not really a book so much as it is a collection of 5 short stories. So it's a bunch of little novellas mashed up to make a novel. And I'll just say that I don't like it. Like, these short stories probably should have stayed on the cutting room floor. It's not that I think that they're bad per se, it's just that I don't know. I feel like Ian Fleming was just going through something and like he took it out on James and like made him really despicable at times. And I mean, yes, James Bond is an alcoholic assassin. Like, we're not expecting him to be a saint, but I'm expecting a little common decency here. So yeah, I'm going to have a full wrap-up video on this coming out shortly, so there will be more details there. Next category is Paranormal Romance, and I read 2 of them. So technically, I guess this is fantasy romance, but I read Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer, and oh boy, I was really excited to read this. This was our patron and channel member book club pick for November. And it's also a TikTok series. So I don't know if you follow Hannah Nicole on TikTok, but she does a whole series about what it would be like to be the assistant to the fantasy villain. And then she wrote a novel. She took it and ran. And you know what? It's really adorable and cute, just like the web series. And it's just basically took that and expanded on it. I tabbed the heck out of it for all of the funny lines that I found in it. It's kind of quirky, absurdist humor. Probably a slow burn romance, but that's probably for the best because he is literally a villain and he tortures people recreationally. Like, you shouldn't just hop into bed with the guy. You know what I mean? You should probably earn it a little bit. So overall, I very much like this. I was surprised. Like, I was worried a little bit because, you know, it's a TikTok series. How is that going to translate into like a full-length novel? And I was pleasantly surprised. So yeah, super liked it. I pre-ordered book 2. And a very, very brand new release, I have A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley. This is book 2 of the Glimmer Falls series. The first book was A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, which I read last year on a lark. Kind of, it was a subscriber suggestion. Picked it up, loved it. It's kind of zany humor, paranormal romance. Obviously, there's witches and demons and oh my, there's all kinds of stuff in it. But yeah, it was really, really funny and deliciously smutty and just like all of the things I was looking for in, like, you know, paranormal romance rom-com. And so I pre-ordered the second book immediately and I was like, okay, can she hit another home run with this one? And you know what? She kind of did. I was like, oh shit, she came back with a vengeance for book 2. So like the title suggests, this is a demon's guide to wooing a witch. So it's a demon and a witch. And these are both characters who met in the first book. Our witch, Calladia, she's like a super athletic kind of boss bitch kind of lady. And then you have, you know, Astaroth of the Nine, who is like, you know, one of the head guys in the demon realm. And like, he was a bad guy, but now he has amnesia. Uh-oh, sexy results. Essentially, they go on a quest together due to having to out of proximity. and romance ensues, and I actually really enjoyed it. It's zany, it's funny. Again, another book I tabbed the ever-loving hell out of because there were so many funny lines in it. So yes, I can't recommend this series enough. It's just dumb smut and fun. Next category is romance, both historical and contemporary. Another banger I read this month was Knockout by Sarah MacLean. Oh boy, I love the Hell's Bells series. This is book 3. I didn't read it when it first came out and it drove me crazy, so I finally did it. I don't know why I waited, but here I am, I've read it. So this is Thomas and Imogen. We have been wanting them together since book 1. We're already at book 3. They've been teasing this for so long, and finally we're here. Thomas Peck, he's the very beleaguered, kind of chief detective at Scotland Yard. And then you have Imogen. She is a society lady with a penchant for blowing things up. So how are these crazy kids gonna work it out? And he's a detective. She's kind of with her Hell's Bells lady detectives. Their paths cross quite often. And it's kind of seeing them, fall in love with each other finally. They've been flirting at it for 2 other books, so finally we get it. And it was deliciously smutty and delightfully fun romp that we got here. And I don't know, I really connected a lot to Imogen because she is often told that she's too much. And I was like, girl, same. Have you met me? I'm a lot. But you know what? If I am too much, you can go find less. I have had that mantra in my head for quite some time at this point. And Imogen, same kind of girl. So I felt a kinship here, and I just really enjoyed it. I also read My Rogue to Ruin by Erica Ridley. This is part of the Wild Winchester series. I believe this is book 4. So this is a misfit group of orphans who are all adopted by this rich baron. And now they're all grown-up adults, and they have formed, they're the Winchesters. They solve crimes and right wrongs with zany results. Because they all have a speciality. One of them is a master of disguise. One of them is an acrobat. One of them can train any animal. They all have their own little things. We're following Marjorie in this one. And Marjorie's always been a little bit quiet, and that's mainly because she's hard of hearing. She's mostly deaf, I would say. She has a little bit of hearing remaining due to a childhood illness. And she's also a master forger. So she can forge anything. Paintings, minting coins, for example. She can do it all. And then enter Lord Adrian, who's similarly talented. He can also really recreate a lot of things down to the most minute detail. So these 2 crazy kids get wrapped up into a very evil forgery ring, and they have to bring down the bad guy, etc. So I enjoyed it very much. It is a bit of a slower burn. In general, I think this series is a little bit of a slower burn romances, but they do get smutty when they need to be. So there's that. And overall, it's funny, it's zany, they're lovable characters, little dash of spice. It's just a fun overall series, and this is book 4, so there's several books to read if you haven't started yet. I also read A Shot in the Dark by Victoria Lee, and this is a contemporary romance. I wouldn't even say it's a rom-com so much as it's just a drama, and it's different for Victoria Lee. She's typically written more horror and sci-fi type of stuff. She wrote this book, A Lesson in Vengeance, which honestly is freaking incredible. It made my top books of the year list. This is auto by author for me, but it's a complete departure from all of her previous works. I want to see how this one gets handled. And this one in particular is about Ellie and Wyatt. They are both recovering drug addicts and kind of trying to navigate a new relationship with each other and other complications along the way, etc. So it really kind of takes a deep dive into what addiction looks like and what the aftermath of it is, as well as kind of coming to terms with who you were and who you are now. So there's a lot of really meaty material in this, as well as a romance. So it's really different than what I was expecting. It's kind of my one drama of the group. But I think if you like meaty, dramatic, emotional romances, this one's gonna be for you. It's a little spicy at times, and it's also LGBTQ. Wyatt is a trans man, so it has great representation, and overall, I really, really liked it. I just didn't love it, mainly because it's just not the kind of book I enjoy reading in general. So I think I give it like 4 stars, just because enjoyment does factor into my stars. Even though objectively speaking, I think it's a good book. It's just, I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. Last category is fantasy spin-off series, and I read 2 of them. I read The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab. This is a spin-off to the Shades of Magic series, and that series is frankly iconic at this point, in particular in, you know, the booktube community. So when this book was coming out, The Fragile Threads of Power, which is a spin-off of that, I was like, okay, let's see what you're doing here, V.E. Schwab. I want to know what's happening, because this kind of takes place, I think, like 10 years after the events of the first trilogy. So what are these crazy kids up to now? We're kind of checking in with all of our favorite characters. We have Lila Bard is back. We have Kel Maresh is back. We have all of our favorites. So what are they doing now that they're all grown up and having to, you know, deal with the consequences of their actions, essentially. Also, it's like broadening the world and bringing in new characters and new experiences and how the world is changing, also due to what happened in the end of that first trilogy. It kind of, we're seeing the ripples actually have meaning now. So I don't want to get into like too many details here, because it's like, this is book 4 and it's very intricate. But it's very good. You can trust V.E. Schwab to tell you a good story. So I think I gave it like 4.25 stars. Not 5, I'll admit. Mainly because this book meanders quite a lot. And to be fair, that's kind of her writing style for this series in particular. All of the books kind of meander around to get to their point. They're not very goal-driven, because there's too many characters. So a lot of the times in this, while I enjoyed meeting all of the new characters as well, and like seeing how the world has changed, it took a long time to really meander into what the actual point of the plot was. And we don't even really get there until like kind of the end of the book. So mind you, this is book 1 of a new trilogy, so there's going to be more. But yeah, it just was a little meandering for my taste, but it's very good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And last up, I have The Scarlet Veil by Shelby Mahurin. This is a spin-off to the Serpent and Dove series, and we're following a new heroine, and all of our old favorites are still there. You have Lou, you have Reed, you have Coco. All of our favorite characters are still in the book, but we're following a new main character. And we also know this character from the original trilogy. She started off as a villain, kind of became a friend, and now she has her own story. It's Saley. And you know what? I'm just gonna say it. Saley is one of my all-time favorite characters, which amongst people who have read these books is a controversial statement, because a lot of people don't like Saley. And I get it. She was like kind of a snooty little twat when we first met her. But the thing is, Saley has gone through shit. Okay, she has gone through very traumatic things, and she came out the other side still kicking. And guess what? She doesn't have magical superpowers like her friends do. So she has to be strong without the, you know, crutch that is, you know, super magical abilities. So there's a lot going on here. And, you know, the first trilogy, it's like witches and kind of stuff like that. And now there's still witches in this, but we're moving on to a new group of paranormal characters, vampires. So it's Saley and the vampires, and I am so into this. Like, you gave me a character that I particularly love. I love reading her books. Like she does dumb things sometimes, but it makes logical sense why she would do these dumb things. And she's just kind of messy and complex and doesn't always make the right decision, but she keeps going. And like, I really fucking like her. I said what I said. I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. Like, if I have to be critical, I would say it does also meander quite a bit. It could be like 50 pages shorter if you cut out some less important bits. You know, it kind of takes too long to get where it's going. But you know what? It was a scenic drive and I enjoyed it. So 5 stars, loved it. It would probably be on my best books of the year list. I said what I said. I thoroughly love this. Okay, so that is a wrap on November. Let's move into what's on deck for December. And guess what, everybody? Every year I set my reading goal for 100 books. And I am at book 90 as of filming this video. I gotta read at least 10 in December to hit my goal. So let's go. This is what's on deck. First category is special projects, as always, and there's 2 of them. Continuing on with the James Bond series, I'm on book 9, Thunderball by Ian Fleming. And you know what, everybody? Thunderball is my favorite book of the James Bond books. It's so good. It's so good. And I mean, I'm not going to get into all the drama behind the writing of this book in this video, but essentially, Ian Fleming was working with other authors in the beginning of this. And this book is so funny. Like, way funnier than the other books, and I was like, maybe because he had other authors helping him and punching things up, but whatever, that's just speculation. But yeah, it's like the funniest one. It's action-packed. It has like my favorite heroine. It's just really, really good. It's like thoroughly my favorite. And also it's really important for the series because it brings in Ernst Stavro Blofeld and Spectre, you know, like the main villains from all the movies. They didn't exist in the books until book 9 of 14. Okay, so this is a very crucial book in the James Bond literary world, and it's my favorite, so I'm very excited to read this month. I'm also going to be reading Stoner McTavish for the classic lesbian romance read-along. I think that's the name of the series. I'm blanking on it right now. But this is the book for December. We're going to do the live show probably early January, just because like the end of the month with the holidays, it's going to be a mess. So I'm not sure exactly what day that'll be, but I'll keep you posted on it. And it's not on my channel anyway, so whatever. But we're reading Stoner McTavish. And I will admit, I forgot to look up what this book was about before shooting this video. So I know it's a classic lesbian romance, and that's it. I don't know what it's about, but I'm going to read it this month. Next category is holiday delights, and I got 3 of them. I gotta get holly jolly up in here. It is Christmas time. I wanted to get some Christmassy romances in the mix, so let's go. This is what I'm reading this month. Starting out, we're gonna read Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey, and guess what, everybody? This one won the poll. This is officially my patron and channel member book club pick for December. We're reading Wreck the Halls together. It won kind of decisively. I was really surprised because the other books I put it up against, I didn't think it was gonna win, but here we are. And this one is kind of enemies to lovers type of vibe. Obviously, it's Christmassy, and we're following these 2 people. I forget their names already. Melody and Beat. Like beat like music, not beat like the vegetable, but Melody and Beat. So Melody and Beat, you know, music-y kind of names. They're both kids of members of this very legendary rock band, and they're polar opposites. Beat, he's off being like the media darling. Melody, she's like, I want to be quiet and like restore books and stay out of the limelight. But this producer comes along and they're like, we're gonna pay you a frankly ungodly amount of money to get the band back together. They're your parents, get the band back together. So they're gonna have to work together, get the band back together, and like make money somehow. I'm not really sure on all the details here, but like I don't care. It's Tessa Bailey. It's gonna be funny, it's gonna be smutty, and it's gonna be holly jolly, which is all I need it to be. I'm also gonna read Mistletoe Christmas, and this is actually a mashup of like 4 different authors doing little novellas. So we have Eloisa James, that's an OG, Christy Caldwell, Jana McGregor, and Erica Ridley, who I personally really, really like. And I haven't read this, and it's just gonna be like fun little ditties, you know? It's just gonna be like little holiday stories. I haven't read Christy Caldwell or Jana McGregor before, so I am interested in like seeing their writing style, because sometimes in these little like novella mashups, I find a new author that I really like, and then I go read a bunch of their books. So fingers crossed, this is gonna be a hit. But at the very least, it's going to be historical romance, little novellas, smutty delights in Christmas time. And also, I'm going to go a little old school with this one, and I have Hercule Poirot Christmas by Agatha Christie. I didn't know she wrote a Christmas story for Hercule Poirot, but she did. And it's basically, on the night before Christmas, cruel, tyrannical, filthy rich Simeon Lee is found locked in his bedroom with his throat cut. Now, Hercule Poirot must put his detective powers to the test to solve one of his most chilling cases and to prevent a clever killer from spilling more blood. And also, Christmas stuff. So it's basically a murder mystery that just happens at Christmas. But I was kind of like into it because I was like, this is so bizarre that like I love it. So yes, I'm gonna read this for Christmas. Next category is fantasy, and I've got 2 of them. I am going to be reading Bookshops in Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. Okay, so this is actually a prequel to Legends and Lattes, which I also adored. And it's just basically cozy fantasy, which is like a genre that I don't see exist anywhere else. But we're following Viv. She's this orc warrior woman, and she wants to, retire from the adventuring life and like open up a coffee shop. Very simple things. And so it's just like her running a coffee shop and the day-to-day trials of a coffee shop, and then like, throw in like a romance and like, yeah. And it's just really delightful and like warm like a hug. And so Bookshops in Bone Dust is a prequel. So this is like kind of how Viv first fell in love with this idea and like decided she wanted to have her own coffee shop. And this big chunky boy right here is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This is my big chunky pick for the month. This is the one I'm worried about because it is a big boy. But I do want to read it. This is Cassandra Clare's first official adult fantasy. It's kind of like The Whipping Boy, that old fable. We have a prince and then his sword catcher, basically his body double / also protector, and his whole job is to be a sword catcher. Someone tries to stab the prince, he has to step in front of the sword. And then other fantasy and probably political machinations ensue, and they've got to save the realm. I didn't even read the synopsis, frankly, because like I know what I'm getting into here. But yes, I do really want to read it. I want to see how like she goes for adult, because she's written primarily all YA with like a dash of middle grade. So here we are, officially adult. I want to see how adult it gets. I'm very into this. So last category here is just a shit ton of manga, because like I need some books that I can read quickly to fill out my ranks if I don't get to my reading goal. So I just grabbed like a whole bunch of mangas. But here's what I'm going to be reading. Let's start off wild, why not, with Dick Fight Island. I mean, I really think the title says it all. There's really no confusion here. Well, actually, no, there was, because when I bought this, Dick Fight Island book, I thought it was gonna be, like battle bots, like, like when the people fight the robots, but like with dicks. Like I thought it was gonna be like battle dicks. And in a way it is, but like there's so much more penetration in this. So this was just way dirtier than I thought it was gonna be just from flipping through it. But yes, Dick Fight Island. What a way to end 2023, am I right? And since we're on the topic of smutty manga, let's keep on that topic. And I'm going to also try to read Game. And this one, it was kind of popular. I've seen it in several videos throughout the year. A lot of people really liked it. This is kind of office place. I think maybe like a little bit enemies to lovers, romance, and then drama and stuff. And it's kind of like soap opera-y, but like also smutty. And it's a manga, and I can probably read it all in like a couple hours. So it's perfect. Those are boobs. It's always jarring when you turn to a random page and you just see boobs when you weren't expecting it. But yeah, Game. Gonna read this one. Moving on into the less smutty side of things, I have Villains Are Destined to Die Volume 5, mainly because I have read volumes 1 through 4 already. I don't know, I bought like the first one as a lark at Target. So I was like, yes, I'm gonna read this, it looks cool. And then I was like, I need to go buy all of the rest. And this one just came out and I had pre-ordered it. What is my life? I don't know. But yeah, it's basically this girl like kind of winds up inside of a video game where you can either play easy mode or hard mode. In easy mode, you know, you're the beautiful princess that everyone falls in love with. However, she was playing it in hard mode when she got sucked in, so now she's has to play the villain character. So a lot of the book is like going, okay, how do I like navigate the situation so no one kills me? Because the villain character in the game gets killed like a lot. So she has to do all these machinations, and you know, there's other things going on here as well, but that's the basic gist. And my last book on deck officially for 2023 is The Remarried Empress. And this is another one I bought on a lark at Target, and mainly because there's this guy who's like, he's like sexy prince dude, but he also becomes like a bird. So he's like bird guy, like a little like Tweety bird, and then he's like sexy prince and also Tweety bird. So I don't know, it makes me laugh essentially. And this is, you know, about an empress that needs to get remarried. I don't know anything about it. I always turn to the page where this like, you know, sexy prince is turning into Tweety bird, and I see it every time, and I'm like, I need to know what's happening. So that's basically it. But yes, I am intrigued about what's happening here. Okay, that's a wrap. That is it for 2023. It's absurd to be saying that, but 2024 is around the corner. I've got some cool video projects in the works. We'll see what happens. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below, how are you finishing 2023? Are you pounding short books? What Christmassy books are you trying to read? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. If you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And if you like cool exclusive content, you can consider becoming a channel member or a patron. Links for that are in the description down below. And on that note, I will see you guys soon. Goodbye.